What's up, everybody? What's up, MGTOW? So in this video, I'm going to be responding to some comments from the last video that I did on kind of tapping people for groups and organizations. And mainly, most of the people in the comment section are just basically parroting some 2016, 2017 talking points of, oh, MGTOW's an online thing only, everybody has to do everything by themselves, and there's no reason for men to ever meet up. It's too risky for men to ever meet up. All men that are MGTOW should all stay separate forever for the rest of their lives, never meet any MGTOW ever in person or in public because it's just too dangerous. Now, there's a lot of ways that I can refute these points, but I'm just going to try to keep it as basic as possible to keep the time down on this video. So basically, a lot of these talking points came from a much earlier iteration of MGTOW. Like, yeah, in 2010, when there was only 5 people in MGTOW, it was extremely dangerous for them to show their face, reveal any part of their identity, anybody. But there's a lot of people in MGTOW and in the manosphere now, and there's a lot of people who people know who they are that go by their full name, like, for instance, Jerry Lou or Terrence Pop or Obsidian or who else? Donovan Sharp. I mean, there's a lot of people in the manosphere now that go by their full name. You know, they have businesses registered and everything. Like, people can look them up and find out information about them. And none of them have been killed yet by the deep state, by feminists. I mean, I don't think anybody would go and try and hunt Terrence Pop down. That would be pretty stupid. But, I mean, in general, none of them have been hunted down and killed. Like, so you can see that the mind state of the 2010, 2015 even MGTOW community might need to be reevaluated a little bit, because right there I've presented evidence that, you know, the overall idea that revealing any part of information about yourself to anybody in the MGTOW community or anybody online at all is going to result in you dying or losing your job or whatever immediately has pretty much been disproven by the people that I've mentioned previously. So now, really, what's the point of MGTOW if it's just online videos? I mean, at a certain point, MGTOW has to do something other than just produce videos, basically. Because, I mean, think about it. Even if the entire society of men was MGTOW, and if the only thing they were doing was producing videos, they still wouldn't get anything accomplished. Like, eventually somebody's going to have to do something. And so to suggest that there's no such thing as a responsible person that can use discretion and actually decide to make a responsible decision to meet up with another individual person. Now, I'm not talking about creating some type of organization where everybody in MGTOW is going to be organized together under some umbrella or banner or anything like that. That's not what I'm talking about. Basically, the premise of the video was directed towards men who have been living their lives to the letter of the law, basically the whole time, and they've never even given thought to the concept of having to operate extrajudiciously, where they don't have the protection of the state, they don't have the protection of the government, and they have to operate and make moves, and they have to protect themselves. Because the fact is, while you're sitting here saying, oh, nobody can meet and da-da-da, nobody's listening to you because you don't have a YouTube channel, and your naysaying comments, people are done with the naysaying lately. Like, the naysayers, the commenters that don't have a channel and you're just naysaying things, I think a lot of people are done with that. As far as MGTOW, as far as crypto, as far as a lot of other things that people are doing, people are just tired of hearing people saying, oh, you're not going to succeed doing that. You're not going to succeed. Okay, but we're not succeeding now, and there's such a thing as calculated risk. So I'm not saying, hey, just have a party and invite everybody that's on your friends list on YouTube. You know, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is as a responsible adult, if you're already planning on meeting people in public that you are associated with online in MGTOW, it's best to be cautious and keep the information about you and the other person meeting to a minimum, and possibly have no other people know about it, and create a network of people who each person is an individual node in the system. So maybe person A knows person B knows person C, but person C doesn't know person A. But they're all in the same trusted network because they're all have gone through some type of ordeal, some type of thing. Who knows? Maybe it could just be getting your passport and leaving the country. Most people won't even do that. So right there, that's a way to test somebody and see if they're really into it or not. And it's just a general idea. I'm not saying you have to do exactly what the Freemasons do or beat people up like the Crips or the Bloods or whatever and jump them in the gang. I'm not saying that. It's just some general ideas for men who have never really even thought of having to do something like that. They've always followed the rules, followed the law, and now they're seeing where it's gotten them, and it's basically nowhere, and they need to make moves. And sometimes you need to make moves without the state protecting you, and you need ways to protect yourself. And since you can't just walk around with an AR-15 all the time, and that's not even that effective all the time. The most effective way to defend yourself is not being there. Like, that's the number one form of Kung Fu, not being there. So that's all I'm saying. It's just a general idea of, if you're already planning on meeting people that you might be associated with online or on MGTOW, then the best way to go about it is to keep it under wraps as much as possible and make sure that it's trusted people. Don't just jump into it, give it time, see how they act, maybe lend them something. Maybe you see how they do with that. Maybe ask them to do something for you, like pay them to do something, like say, hey, I got this job for you. I need you to do graphics for me, or do whatever they do, whatever they say they do. And it's a small job, like a $10 job, and they don't do the job. Then that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying create a mafia. I'm not saying create a gang, create the Freemasons. I'm just saying each individual man needs to look at the people who he might consider interacting with in the real world and give it a long, deep examination. And then when he does plan to meet that person, keep it under wraps. Don't go on your YouTube channel and say, hey, me and so-and-so are going to be meeting in China tomorrow. Don't do that. Just meet. And then if you meet and it's all good and everything's good, then you guys know that you both are trustworthy. And then if somebody else meets somebody else that's also trustworthy, then they can recommend that person to the other person and say, hey, I've hung out with this guy for whatever. We met up a couple times and we did this and we did that. Everything was cool. That's all it is. It's just like basically a group of people that have references amongst each other, and they know how to shut up. They know how to just keep it quiet and not say a bunch of stuff and not tell everybody everything about everything. That's it. Because it's online, and a lot of people don't think in that way. They don't think in the way that, oh, well, what I might have to keep what I'm doing under wraps, even though it's not wrong, even though it's not illegal. It's still to protect yourself from people who are trying to stop you from enjoying your life or pursuing some type of value benefit. That's it, really. So to sit here and say that, oh, I'm trying to promote organizing MGTOW into a group or something like that, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about creating a mafia. I'm not talking about creating a gang. I'm not talking about creating the Freemasons. I'm just giving an example of a concrete, precedented way to interact with people when you don't have the protection of the state. And it's proven. It's proven. I mean, you can say, oh, the cops know who the Crips are. The cops know who the Crips are, but the Crips are still making money. The Crips are still running blocks. They're still selling drugs. Because the way that their system works, it's really difficult to just take them all out at once. Because it's a network of people who are not saying anything about what they're doing. And again, the Freemasons are seen as a charitable organization. Nobody's trying to take down the Freemasons. In fact, whenever you even suggest that the Freemasons are doing something negative, people are like, oh no, the Freemasons, they're good guys, because they're known as a charitable organization. But do you know what the Freemasons do with their lodges? Have you ever been in a Freemason lodge? Have you even seen Freemasons going into a Freemason lodge? Okay, so exactly, my point proven that this method is precedented. And no method is perfect. No human is perfect. No human is incorruptible. But this method is proven to work time after time for thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands of years. Who knows? But that's it for this video. Have a good day and go MGTOW.